Hello everyone, and welcome back to a video series where we're going to be looking inside the Big Question Lab, which is a secular Sunday school that took place at the Humanist Hub in Cambridge, Massachusetts this year. In the last episode, I introduced you to the space, the Humanist Hub itself, and some of the people who were involved in making this program possible. In the next few episodes, I'd like to show you exactly what we actually taught here. The specific lessons, some of which hopefully will be replicable and you can use in your own communities. But before we get into that, there's a lot of theory and thoughtfulness, not necessarily over what to teach, but how to teach. And I wanted to spend at least one video talking specifically about that. So here is 5 pedagogical decisions of the Big Question Lab. Decision number 1, have a dynamic learning environment. When we started off this year, this room was all white and had some chairs and some bookshelves in it. If you look at the classroom now, it is very different. We have a big chunk of the room is decorated to look like a spaceship. We have some stained glass gears and guts of the spaceship. We have porthole windows. We have a back view screen of stars and a control panel. We also have a lot of life in the room, a big colorful mural wall. The kids' ideas and projects are displayed all over the room. A lot of the furniture we used is portable so that we could rearrange things based on the activity that we're going to do. And all of that was intentional. I've had a lot of influence from an approach called Reggio Emilia, which believes in the power of environments to be sort of a second teacher to kids. And we wanted our classroom environment to be as adaptable, inviting, and exciting as we think talking about big questions and thinking things through like this is. I also saw a comment from somebody in the first video about how terrible it would be for kids to sit through school and then just have another part of their day taken up by sitting through a lesson, and I agree. I personally think that fun is a symptom of development, and the environment should be engaging and fun as well. Decision number 2, participation over instruction. I really tried to limit the time that I spent higher or in front of the kids. Most of the time I wanted to be down on the floor with them, participating with them. About halfway through the year, I was trying to teach a class of 5 to 7-year-olds about how movies and media influence what they believe about the world. And I planned this whole class about looking at some videos and putting different music behind them and then having a conversation about what did you notice about that? And the students very obviously got bored. They were very bored. Some of the students in the back started making a pillow fort. Now I could have tried to redirect and bring it back to the plan that I had and do some instruction on media. But instead, I decided to participate. We had a TA, so the kids who wanted to keep working on that activity continued, and then I went and I just played with pillows. Eventually, by playing with them, by participating with them, that pillow fort turned into a Star Wars pillow fort, and then we started making a whole storyboard about this story and this space battle, and we ended up having really great conversations about what makes a hero in a movie like Star Wars. Who is the main character? Why are they the main character? And I learned a lot from the kids that day. And this is what I mean by choose to participate rather than instruct. If you're like me and you're trying to help these kids think critically about their world, you have to get into their world. So join them. Decision number 3, diverse modalities rather than specified modalities. This year we danced to explore culture, we drew our big questions, we used dramatic play to pick apart media, we journaled, we painted, we role-played, we made costumes, we watched videos, we read books, we had fascinating group discussions, and we just wandered around outside. We didn't do worksheets, we didn't have homework, there were no assignments. We collectively invented our own means of exploration. There's a lot of research that you could look into about why this is an effective pedagogical decision. But I will say the biggest problem that we ended up having this year was that kids didn't want to leave. And that alone seems like a good signal to me. Decision number 4, cooperation over competition. Over the years of teaching, I've picked up a lot of incentivizing tricks to keep kids on task. You can do gold stars, you can do grades, you can do ranks, this team versus that team. But we didn't want any of that. And there's also a lot of research about this, but the shorthand is, especially in a setting where kids are learning how to take someone else's perspective, to engage compassionately in other people's ideas and experiences, we didn't think there was good reason to incentivize them against each other. There are plenty of cooperative games and activities out there. Find them, use them, and your kids will benefit from them. Decision number 5, teach from the heart. And I feel like I can already hear you analytical thinking people out there going, the heart, that's not where decisions are made from, that's the frontal lobe, Nick. It's poetry, people. What I mean is this, kids are capable, intelligent human beings. They have a sense of fairness and an awareness of what's genuine from a very early age. That's not a gift you bestow onto them as a teacher. You cultivate that by creating kind and genuine spaces for them. Kindness, respect, compassion, active listening, perspective taking. The studies on this show that these are largely picked up by modeling behavior, not by demanding it. So listen to them, pay attention to them, learn from their interests. Don't try to trick them, don't cut corners, don't try to hide your faults. Don't pretend to know the answers when you don't. Be who you are around them. You are a human being trying to figure out how to behave and live well, just like everybody else. And that's often confusing and complex and sometimes sad, but by remaining curious, by exploring new interests and perspectives with honesty and empathy, we can improve. Bit by bit, we can make our lives and the lives of others a little better. And that's beautiful. And kids will see that in you, and you can help them see it in themselves. And if you're just doing that, and you're celebrating that, you're doing incredible work already.
Somebody asked me this once. She said, what bugs you most about religion? You know, what's the thing that really gets you? I just thought it was big of her to ask that question. And I thought about it for a minute, and I realized it's whenever it encourages incuriosity, whenever it sort of teaches you to be satisfied with an easy answer or the first answer you get, or teaches you to not pursue your curiosity, tells you there are places you shouldn't go, that's the problem. So much comes out of curiosity. And if we can simply engender that in kids and let them chase it where it goes, that everything comes out of that. You know, if you let them explore that, everything else will come out of that. So curiosity and interaction, active learning, it sounds like you've got the right ingredients. It's really good.
If you give youth an opportunity to engage in these really interesting topics, they are smart. They can work together to kind of co-construct their own knowledge, which is also a very Vygotskian kind of approach of social development, is, work together to understand your world. And I think that what that does is it empowers the kids to have control of their own learning, and therefore they respect their own learning, and they're more excited to engage in it. And they will apply that learning in other parts of their lives outside of just this classroom, which is exactly what we want, right?
Because the same spirit of skepticism and being willing to say, wait just a minute, I don't know if that makes sense, that leads people to throw off the yoke of supernatural belief systems and superstition, could lead to a skeptical view of what government is doing, what our economic system is, and the things we take for granted in our everyday lives. Why do these kids have to call their teacher by her last name when she calls them by her first name, to take one of 1,000 possible examples?
Yeah.
And what we want to do is get kids who challenge authority. For me, that's part of humanism, alongside that sense of connection and concern for the well-being of others.
Well, that's the space to be able to feel comfortable asking questions. In order to look at outcomes or answers, you need to see what the inputs are. And sometimes the inputs are based on science, sometimes they're based on mythology, sometimes they're based on assumptions, right? And all of those pieces are important, and there needs to be a room or a space to ask those questions, and then to deconstruct some of the assumptions that are embedded in those questions so we can come up with an answer. And people have all kinds of different perspectives. So the answer is less important to us than what the question is. Ka-ching.
Hey all, thanks for watching. If you want to see more of those interviews, let me know and I'll post up little clips of them. Don't forget to subscribe and visit the Humanist Hub website. If you want to sign up for the program next year, or if you want to donate, please do. We are hoping to keep this program alive and moving, and we will be depending on your support for that in the future. Monetarily. We need your money. And next week I'm going to take you through the show reel of what we actually did throughout the year. So stay tuned. Ask your questions in the comments below, and I'll see you soon.